Okay, I just jumped on here to remind you about how to do your flex assessment and add your materials and go in and change your numbers for your bubble sheet. Then go in and add your standards and add your question groups, and then you can either print it and print bubble sheets, or you can do things online with it once you get there. So what you're going to do is go to assessments. You're creating an assessment. You want to pick flexible. We're going to name it. Create. So even though it's going to ask you how many questions you have, you can just start with one because you can always go back and add them later. So the first thing you want to do is go to your standards right here in the blue, and you're going to pick the standards that are on your test. They have a list of all of the standards. I have already selected the 2 standards that are on this certain quiz, so they're already over here on the side. It saves it as you go. A little save will pop up here. I'll show you real quick. If I was to click that, see how it says saving? I don't actually want that, so I'm going to get rid of it. So once you X, it should say how many standards you picked right here in the blue. Okay, so then you want to upload your test. I like to do it from my Google Drive. You can do it from your computer. Log into your Google Drive. Pick the test that you are wanting to give. It's going to turn it into a PDF, so it can't be edited or anything changed on it once you do that. If you do change something on it, you're going to have to re-upload it. Again, it saves it as you go. You should have one material listed. So, you're going to go through your test. I have 7 questions. So I'm going to just add until I have 7. And you just keep pushing the add until you'd have 7 questions. Now this particular test has some part A's and part B's, so let's go through that. So my first question is actually a constructed response, only 1 point. So I want to change this to constructed response, and it's already worth 1 point. Then I would go in, click the standard that it actually is, and then whatever question group you can say that it is: advanced, basic. So once you've done your whole question, both of these should be blue. So go back in. You'll see that part 2 has 3 parts. So when you make your bubble sheet, you want this to say exactly what you want your bubble sheet to say. If you don't like this Q in front of it, you can get rid of it so that all they see is this. So whatever you have here is going to be what shows up on your bubble sheet when you print it. So when I go back, 2 is constructed response, 2B, the only one is C, and there's 4 choices. So I'm going to go to C, multiple choice, and I want to change this to 4 choices. And so of course I would go back and change this to constructed response, and change this to constructed response, go in, add my standards, add my question groups, so that all of this should be blue once I have all of my questions added. The only thing that I would like to go over that isn't on here, and I don't think we have any pick 2 on this particular test, but when you want a pick 2 problem, remember, I'll just say that this is going to be number 3, you want to go to advanced multiple choice. Sorry for that. Took me a second. Advanced multiple choice. Okay? And you want to go through every choice option. And then you have to tell it how many points it's worth. So if A and B are the actual answers, and you can say that you want it however many points you want it worth. So we're going to say that each one was worth a point, so we're going to do 2. When we go to, so now we're going to have A and C. If each one is worth a point, then that would only be worth 1. Then we're going to have A and D, again, only 1 point because that is one of the right answers, one of the wrong answers. You could do them worth half a point, just change the weight right here if that's what you wanted to do. So, and you're just going to keep going through. So now we're going to pick B and C, still worth a point because B's right. Then we're going to pick B and D, still worth a point because B's right. Then we're going to pick C and D, and the weight would actually not be anything because that is not correct. Now, you also want to go through and say what would happen if they only were to pick 1. Because if not, it's not going to know what to do. And even if they leave it completely blank, that would of course be for 0 either, but it's always safe to put all of your options in there. So these guys would all be worth 0. You can go in and say that now this would actually be worth 1 because that is the correct answer, and this would actually be worth 1 because that is also the correct answer. But this guy would be worth 0, and this guy would also be worth 0. So you're going to go through your test, and you're going to do all of those options. Make sure if it's multiple choice, you select the correct answer. You do not have to do a 0 one like I did here, but when I'm doing the advanced multiple choice, I like to always make sure I'm covering all of your bases. And then it saves it as you go. So now this is good. You can push done. And then if you want to do a paper test or online, somebody else is going to talk to you about that and send you resources on that. But remember to print your bubble sheet to go into administer and print answer sheets. And I'm just going to generate an answer sheet for you just to show you. I always like to do large bubbles and 2 to a page just to show you what that would look like with me putting the numbers the way I did. So you can see that the numbers look just like I typed them on the side, and the bubbles are all there. So, there you go.